What's going on, guys? So it's currently 2:30. I just got out of work and I am exhausted. Right now I'm basically just gonna go home, feed the dog some food, and potentially record a video of the recent taillights that I just installed, and they are VLAND Sequential Tailights. So if any of you guys don't know about them, they're basically the standard Mark 6 Golf R Euro lights, but they have sequential turn signals and they're all LED. Not a full install, just kind of walking you guys through what worked for me whenever I installed everything, and just little tips, hints, and tricks and stuff like that whenever you're taking panels and stuff off. So just look forward to that in a little bit. And I'm gonna go home. So like I said earlier, I was gonna show you guys basically the tips, hints, and tricks that worked for me whenever it came to installing the Euro tail lights. Also just gonna show you like some of the fitment and like if it's good, if it's bad, if it's good enough to where you want to buy them. I know a lot of people don't want to buy the tail lights because they think it's just going to be trash fitment and it's going to stand out and everybody's going to notice. But me personally, I was all for saving $1, and nobody else has made a video out there about the true fitment of these tail lights. So just watch along, and I'm going to show you guys basically the fitment of these tail lights and the general install. So basically, starting from the inside, I just want to show you guys the overall fitment. As you can see, I mean, you got maybe the width of my finger. I mean, I don't know if that's really a good comparison, but it kind of gets smaller as it goes through. And on the outside, as you can see, it's pretty flush. The only thing I will say is right here, you can kind of see how it flares out towards the bottom, and it does that on both sides. The left side's actually a little better. Or I mean the right side's actually a little better, and this one I can't really get a good picture of, but this one's more flush, and it's more flush all the way up through. But definitely, like I said, I mean, it's not even fitment on both sides because this side flares out more. Other than that, so down here it flares out just a little bit in comparison to stock, but it's like smooth all the way around and it flares out. And going up through the curve, whenever it goes up, it starts to go in like towards the body, so it's not like completely contour with the body line. And it does that on the other side as well. It does the same thing where it kind of goes in and it's not completely flush with the body line. As well as this part it flares out right here, and you may be able to kind of see what I'm talking about, but it flares out like right where the corner part is down here, versus the other side it's completely smooth and then it flares out here. But like I said, I mean, it's not equal fitment, but I mean, for $250 you can't really complain. And like I said, the fitment on this side, it's actually even better. So it's a lot smaller, I can't even fit my finger in there, and it's actually more flush to this. And a lot of people say, oh well, it's not flush, so it's going to leak into the car, it's going to leak into the taillights, and then my taillights aren't going to work. That's not true, because it comes with a seal. So I mean, like I said, it's not really that bad a fitment. For $250 in comparison to $800 that some people pay for brand new Eurotails, and you have to get adapters for them. So I mean, you're looking from $800, $850 to $900 just for a brand new set of, I mean, granted they're OEM fitment, but they're Euro tail lights. Same as these, the only difference obviously is these are sequential and they're not OEM. But if you're willing to kind of like overlook those little small things that you really don't notice when you're driving the car or when you're standing around it, these are the types of things you notice if you're, say, going to buy the car and you kind of want to make sure everything's like perfect, no paint chips, no weird body lines, and those would be the things that you would look for. So if it's the type of thing where it's your daily driver or a show car, people aren't going to be looking at those types of things. Oh, they have fake tails, blah, 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 blah. That's not how it works. Yeah, there's going to be those people out there, but 99% of the time, those are the 1%. So if you want to be part of the 99% that goes and buys the tails, or if you just strictly want OEM tails, then get OEM tails. But if you want to be a part of that 98, 99% of percentile of people that go out and just get reps because they're close to, and you're saving $600-700 on tail lights, then do go with VLANs, because I bought these directly from their website, and the fitment, honestly, I can't really complain because it's $250 shipped to your door in 2 to 3 days. So I mean, you guys take what you want from it. I'm gonna go ahead and show you some of the tips that I want to give you guys as far as the install goes, because I struggled a lot. There was not really any good videos of taking the interior panels off, and I'm not going to take mine off again, but I'll kind of give you an idea of what you have to do when you take these panels off. So if you decide to order these taillights, and I'll drop the link for the taillights down below, you kind of have a basis on what to go around, and you're not like, why the heck won't this panel come off? I don't want to break anything. You won't be worrying like I was, because honestly, I did break a panel. I mean, there was no really any video that showed me what panels I have to take off. They were just like, oh, okay, and you're gonna have to route this wire up here, versus being like, oh, okay, you have to take this panel off to route this wire up here. So I'm gonna show you that now. Coming over here to the driver's side, you're gonna have this panel right here. It goes along the bottom, it's where the trunk latches, and it goes all the way to the passenger side as well. All you're gonna do is you're really just gonna pull that out. What I did is I just kind of flared that up, and you can pull it out that way with an upholstery tool, or you can just kind of like grab in this general direction right here, and it'll pop out. And I'll actually do it just to kind of show you guys, but it's really simple. There's two clips, there's one right there, and there's like one somewhere down here, and they're both metal, so you don't have to worry about anything plastic breaking, and they just pop back in just like that. So it's really simple. Whenever you do pop this out, you're gonna pull down this panel right here, and it's really simple. These are supposed to have clips, and yours may have clips. There's a hole behind this panel. Mine personally, when I pulled mine out, there was no clips holding it to this general area, so you may not have to worry about it. Basically, coming to the inside though, you're gonna have these little screws. They're like retention screws, or whatever you want to call them. They just have a spring that basically, once that gets the right amount of tension, and these are flush, when the taillights are flush with the body, these tighten up and you can't turn them anymore. So you're just going to unscrew them, and they may be kind of tight at first, but I'm not going to unscrew mine, but you're just going to unscrew them, and then this is going to pop out. There's a clip behind this area right here, and then there's a clip right here. They don't actually it doesn't actually clip it to the car. All it does is kind of hold it in place so it's in the right spot. And that's how you'll know if your taillights are on right as well. With the passenger side, I actually didn't put this part into this clip area right here, so it made it to where it wasn't flush and I was getting a rattle when I was going down the road. So I had to like go behind my car whenever I got out of my car one day, and I was like, oh, okay, so I missed that spot, so I had to take it back out. Wasn't too big of a deal, just because I was able to take the clips, or I was able to take that screw right back out, but on the opposite side, obviously. So it wasn't that bad. Whenever you get to that part and you have those lights out, what you're going to do next is you're going to pop this out, and this really just pulls forward, and then you're going to have this panel. So there's like these little, it's kind of like hook shaped plastic tabs that come from this panel right here, and they go down into a slot. It's like somewhere in that general direction, but with this panel right here, there's a slot that's on this one, so it's going to push into it. And all you're going to do is you're going to kind of like pull it out, and you'll hear a bunch of like creaking and popping and just a bunch of noises. And honestly, it scared me because I didn't want to break the car. I mean, these cars are, as most of you know, they're not really an everyday average car, so some of the parts are pretty expensive to replace, and the last thing that I wanted to do was break something. But basically just kind of like pull and kind of work your way over, and you'll feel the clips pop out. And then what you're going to do is you're going to get an upholstery tool, and you're going to pry like right behind this little rubber seal right here. You're going to pry out, and this is going to start popping out, and you're just going to have to work your way up. Try to fit your hands or fingers in there whenever it's kind of like flared out a little bit, and you're going to try to get some of the clips to pop. This is one of the hardest panels to get out, if I'm being completely honest. With this, like I said, you're going to have a hook shape coming down from this, and it's going to go into this panel right here. So in order to get this to flare out, to route this little yellow and black wire up to the top of the tails, you're going to have to like pull up and out just to get this first section out. There's another one over here that's just like it. It's a hook that goes down as well. I didn't take that one out because I didn't need to. I wanted to try to keep it like at a minimum to where I'm not taking everything out and it's unnecessary. But as far as that goes, it's the same exact situation on the passenger side. And like I said, I don't know if on the Eurotails, just the basic ones, I don't know if it has the black and yellow wire that you have to run up to the inner tails. I'm not 100% sure, but if it does or doesn't, and if you have sequential tails, the hardest part is getting the wire through this. What you're gonna do is down here, you'll see this little part. All you do is push that in and you just kind of like pull up a little bit. It's like a little tab and it allows this to come out of the hole. Originally, I actually used an upholstery tool and kind of like pried under this section right here and popped it up, and it worked that way, but I didn't realize it was the simple grommets where you just kind of like push in and pull up at the same time, and it actually pops this piece out. So then what I also did is I popped this top one out, and I did have to use an upholstery tool to pop the top one out because it's not like this one where you can like clip it and or push it and pull it out. This one you actually have to pry out, but all you're gonna do is basically, like I said, get an upholstery tool or something that you can pry in there, maybe even a screwdriver. Just, if you care about your paint, be careful. I recommend plastic upholstery tools or something that's not gonna mar the surface up like I did right there. You just pull this out and then you kind of like shrivel this down a little bit. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna get a coat hanger. I used a metal coat hanger. Some people use antennas off of old cars and they cut them to length. But what I did, if you have an old metal coat hanger, all you're gonna do is cut it about 12 to 14 inches long, and then you're gonna get some tape. So when you have that coat hanger, so imagine this is the coat hanger, you're gonna get some tape and you're gonna start wrapping it around that coat hanger. And then when you have the yellow wire, like I said, you're gonna route it up through here, and you'll be able to see inside of this hole. But you're gonna route the black and yellow wire up through here when you have this panel pulled out, and then you're gonna pull that wire out, go ahead and pull all the excess, yada yada, and then you're gonna get the coat hanger that you just wrapped tape to, and you're gonna start wrapping the end of that of the black and yellow wire to it with the connector on it. So you're gonna wrap around the connector and go down the black and yellow wire, and then you're gonna try to push it up through here. If you have grease, basically some type of lubricant to put in this, it'll help a lot. I personally didn't use it, and honestly it was still a pain in the butt, but like I said, I'm giving you guys advice from mistakes that I made. So originally when I taped around the coat hanger, I taped the wire to it and didn't start taping the coat hanger first. The reason you want to tape the coat hanger first before you start wrapping around the wire is because when you start pushing through this grommet, it's going to pull that plug out. If you wrap around the hanger first, it has something that it's trying to hold on to already, and then instead of it only trying to hold on to the wire that's going to slip off, if you don't wrap around the tape around the coat hanger first, it's just going to slip right off. So make sure you wrap around tape around the coat hanger first. Just do like 3 or 4 little wraps, and make sure they're tight, not sloppy, because you have to keep everything like super tight. If you don't, it's just going to come off. And whenever you start to push it up through here, you're gonna see where the plug is. And what I did, like if say the plug was like right there where my thumb is, I would kind of like push these down over it just to get it up farther, and then I would push the coat hanger more. And then I would do the same thing, push these down over it a little more and push the coat hanger farther up. And then eventually you'll see the coat hanger come out. And you just keep doing that same method, and eventually you'll see the plug come out, and you pull the plug out. And if you don't feel comfortable continuing to pull on the antenna or the coat hanger because you feel like the plug's gonna come off, just try to pull the plug itself out, and that way you don't have to worry about redoing the whole thing again and pushing the coat hanger up through there and retaping everything, which I had to do a bunch of times. So like I said, learn from my mistakes. I'm giving you guys advice that works, and you'll have it in there in no time. So another thing, whenever you're pulling this off, you also have to pull this off. And be very careful. This is like the middle section. You see where this like little fine crack is? This is the middle section, and apparently that's a weak point on these. Maybe it's just because my car has high miles on it, so with the heat and all the, I guess, vibration or something, I don't know. Basically, whenever I've started to pull this off, and what you'll do, you'll pull up here, and then you'll kind of like get an upholstery tool and pry down, and there's clips all across the whole entire panel. I think there's like 4 or 5 or 6 clips on these. But there's like one here, I want to say one here, one here, one here, and one here, or there may just be 4 or 5. I'm not really sure. I couldn't remember for sure. But whenever I pulled, well, I started on this side, and whenever I pulled off and pulled here, as soon as I pulled in that section, this cracked. So I recommend popping one side down, popping the other side down, then work your way in. Do the same thing. But you may still run into the same issue where, like I said, I mean, mine cracked down the middle. it's not that noticeable now that it's back up there. Obviously, it just looks like kind of like a hairline crack or a scratch. But just try not to make the same mistake that I did and pry it on one side only and then ended up cracking the actual panel itself. So whenever you're taking the trunk panel off, and this is honestly the part that scared me the most, because whenever I started pulling on this section, there was a lot of creaking, a lot of popping, a lot of clips that you could hear. And the one thing I didn't know is, you know where you have the handles that are usually like right in that general area? Look up in those handles and you'll see, I think it's like a T20 or T25 torque screw on both sides with where the handle section is. Take those off first, because that's what stopped me, and I didn't realize there was screws there. And once you have those screws off, then start popping. You'll see a clip there, you'll see a clip there, a clip there, clip there, and you'll just kind of like work your way around, and eventually it'll pop off. And it's also going to be a two-piece, so like you'll have this panel right here, but whenever you get towards this section, you're going to have a panel right here that's completely separate. It doesn't have as many clips, but like you can see, there's one there, there's one there, there's one there, there's one there. Just kind of remember where those spots are and pop in those general areas. But you're going to want to start from the sides, because if you don't start from the sides, it's going to be very hard to get it off, because in this general area, it's like you have all these clips and stuff. It's just not a weak point. On the sides, since it's a two-piece panel, like I said, from connecting from the top to the bottom, since it's two-piece, you can work your way up, like pull this side down, then work your way over and work your way over and work your way over, or you can work your way over here and then work your way over here and then work these off. And all you really have to do is pull once you have the side panels off to get that piece off. And that, just to kind of give you guys an idea where I routed the passenger side, because like on the driver's side, you have this harness that you can kind of zip tie to all the way up, and it keeps it stable. With this side, this one's a little more loose. I still zip tied it together so you don't have wires like going everywhere, and then I just kind of like pushed it off to the side right there, and then I zip tied it to that harness right there, and then I went up, 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 and then I went into that hole, right back out of the hole, and then over. And I know it kind of looks like a rat's nest. I'm keeping my trunk panel off mainly because I wanted to make this video, but also because I'm going to be doing a rear wiper delete, and I'm also going to be doing the hatch pop kit. So I was like, well, there's no sense in keeping or putting the trunk panel back on, because it's a pain in the butt whenever I want to be putting more stuff on the car. So just in case you guys were curious, if you want to have dual reverse lights, if you're in the United States or even in Europe, I mean, I know in Europe they have the fog light and the reverse light. The tail lights come with the fog function and the reverse light, so you only have technically one reverse light that's white. If you want them to both be dual white, I'm going to show you that here now, so that way you guys can do this and have dual reverse lights and you're not worrying about light output whenever you're backing up. Okay, so basically on the driver's side, where the inner is, you see the white and brown wire. Basically what you're going to do is whenever you're going to take this plug out, so you're just going to like take it out, and then on top of this, like on top of this plug that you pull out, you'll see little metal pins. There'll be 4 or 5 metal pins that correlate with the black, green, white, yellow, and brown wire. Basically what you're going to do is where this white and brown wire is, whenever you buy the tail lights, they're actually going to be swapped. So where my white is, it's going to be brown, and where the brown that I have is, it's going to be white. So what you're going to do, if you want to have dual reverse lights, remember this is on the driver's inner, you're going to push down whenever you take this plug out, you're going to push down on these little metal prongs where the white wire and the brown wire is, and you're going to pull on the white wire and the brown wire at the same time. Obviously you don't have to do both of them at the same time, but whenever you push down for the prong on the white one and the prong for the brown one, just pull the wire at the same time, and it's going to actually pull the wire out. And then all you're going to want to do is swap the brown wire with the white wire like I have right now, and it'll give you dual reverse light, so that way you don't have to worry about light output and you can have that same US spec reverse light scenario. So you guys kind of get the basis on how to do it now. Just like I said, be very careful whenever you're messing with the car, because there are parts that can potentially break, like I've shown you before. Other than that, I'm going to show you basically the tail lights now, the brightness of everything, and I'll show you how the sequential works and see if it's something that you want to order. So I appreciate you guys watching. If you enjoyed the video, hit that subscribe and like button, hit that notification bell to stay tuned for the next episode, and I'll see you then.